The bus stop was cold that evening, the kind of chill that made people shift in their coats and hurry past without looking at anyone too long. Streetlights hummed faintly overhead, casting a yellowish glow on the cracked pavement. A young woman sat on the bench, her arms crossed tightly around herself. Her hair, tangled from nights without a pillow, spilled over her thin shoulders. Her shoes were worn, the soles nearly splitting, and the small bag at her side was the only possession she carried. She kept her gaze lowered, afraid of catching the judgmental stares that usually followed her wherever she went. She had been homeless for months now. A series of bad breaks, losing her job, her landlord selling the apartment, no family to turn to, had pushed her into the streets. Every night was a battle between fear and exhaustion. Every day was spent looking for food, a safe corner, or a bit of kindness. She had grown used to being invisible, or worse, treated like a problem to be swept away. She had not cried in weeks, tears felt like a waste when the world had no mercy left to offer. As she sat there waiting for the bus she didn't even plan to board, just for a moment of rest, a small voice interrupted her silence. "You need a home, and I need a mommy." Startled, she lifted her head. A little girl stood in front of her, maybe 7 years old. She had curly hair tied into messy pigtails and wore a bright pink jacket that looked slightly too small for her. Her backpack was covered in stickers, and her sneakers lit up faintly when she shifted her feet. The girl's eyes, wide and filled with a curious mixture of sadness and hope, studied the young woman as if she had discovered a secret treasure. The woman blinked, unsure what to say. Children didn't usually talk to her. Most parents pulled their kids closer, hurrying them along before they could ask questions. "What did you say?" the woman asked softly, her voice hoarse from days of little speaking. The girl repeated without hesitation, "You need a home, and I need a mommy." The words hung in the air, heavier than the traffic noise around them. The woman's heart twisted. She wanted to laugh it off, to dismiss it as childish imagination, but she couldn't ignore the sincerity in the girl's voice. "Where's your mommy now?" she asked carefully. The little girl looked down, kicking the toe of her sneaker against the pavement. "She went to heaven last year," she said in a matter-of-fact way, though her small voice trembled at the edges. "It's just me and Daddy now. He works a lot, and sometimes he forgets things, like picking me up. He tries, but he looks tired all the time." The woman's chest tightened. She recognized that kind of tired, the kind that sat in bones, the kind that no amount of sleep could heal. The girl climbed onto the bench beside her, setting her backpack on her lap. "You look lonely, and I feel lonely too. So maybe," she trailed off but gave the woman a smile that was both innocent and impossibly brave. The woman swallowed hard, unsure how to respond. She had nothing to offer this child. No house, no steady life, no warmth except for the ragged blanket buried in her bag. But in the girl's gaze, for the first time in a long time, she didn't see pity or disgust, only recognition. "I don't think I'd make a very good mommy," she whispered. "You don't know that yet," the girl replied, swinging her legs. "Mommy used to say being good at something means you try every day. You could try. I can try too." The woman looked away, blinking quickly against the sting in her eyes. The streetlights blurred. She hadn't cried, not even when she lost her last safe place to sleep, not even when she had gone hungry for days. But here she was, unraveling at the words of a child. A car pulled up suddenly, and a man rushed out, calling the little girl's name. He looked frantic, his tie loosened and his shirt wrinkled, his eyes filled with worry. "Emily, you can't just wander off like that." The girl slipped off the bench. "I was talking to her, Daddy. She needs a home, and I need a mommy." She pointed at the young woman as if she had just presented a solution to the world's most complicated puzzle. The man's expression flickered, torn between relief at finding his daughter and confusion at her words. He glanced at the woman, and she braced herself for the familiar look, the one that said she was a danger, a mistake, someone to be ignored. But instead, his gaze softened, just slightly. He noticed her thin frame, the tiredness in her face, the small bag that was clearly all she had. He cleared his throat. "Thank you for keeping her company," he said, though his voice carried an uncertainty. The woman shook her head. "She kept me company," she admitted quietly. He took his daughter's hand, ready to lead her away, but Emily tugged insistently. "Daddy, please, she's nice. Can she come with us?" The man sighed, kneeling so he was eye level with his daughter. "Sweetheart, we can't just..." He stopped, glancing again at the woman. Something about the way she sat, guarded but fragile, made him pause. For a long moment, no one spoke. The noise of the street seemed far away, like the world had slowed to give them this fragile, impossible instant. Finally, the man said, "Maybe we can at least give her a warm meal tonight. Would that be okay?" He looked at the woman with genuine kindness now, though hesitance still lingered. The woman wanted to refuse. Pride and fear battled inside her. Accepting help always felt like admitting weakness, and weakness was dangerous. But then she saw Emily's hopeful eyes, glowing like small lanterns in the dark. For the first time in months, she let herself nod. "Okay," she whispered. Emily grinned and squeezed her hand tightly, as if sealing a promise. "See, Daddy, I told you, she can try, we can all try." As they walked together toward the car, the young woman felt the weight of her bag on her shoulder, but for the first time, it didn't feel like the only thing tethering her to the world. She glanced down at the little girl holding her hand, and something warm stirred in her chest. It wasn't yet a home. It wasn't yet motherhood, but it was a beginning, and beginnings were rare gifts for people like her. And in that cold evening by the bus stop, a homeless woman and a little girl had unknowingly rewritten the direction of their lives, with nothing more than a simple sentence that carried both heartbreak and hope. "You need a home, and I need a mommy."